Admit it, we've all experienced it. A sound that stops you dead in your tracks. An unexplained movement out of the corner of your eye. The unshakable feeling of being watched. Or maybe it was something more. Maybe it's a story that would have even the most seasoned paranormal investigator shook. This is our new series, Dead Time Stories. Your true life tales of the paranormal. These people were brave enough to talk about it. Are you brave enough to listen? This week, our first Dead Time story comes from Tierney Levering from Salt Lake City, Utah, and she has a few experiences to share.
Hi Bridget, my name's Tierney, and I just want to start this off by saying I love your podcast, and I love all the history I've been able to learn on it so far, and I look forward to a new episode every week. I'm so excited to be able to tell you a few of my ghost stories. Ever since I was a little girl, I've loved the paranormal, and I've always been open to the spirit world. My first story happened when I was 16. My best friend and I decided we would drive through the cemetery like we did often. But this time, when we were about to the exit, we both seen this white, clearish figure cross the road. And at first we didn't say anything to each other, but then we looked at each other at the same time and we both said, "Did you see that?" Then we were overcome with emotion and we both started crying, so we booked it out of the cemetery. Well, our boyfriends and friends thought we were crazy, but we knew we weren't crazy because we both seen it. My second story happened like 3 years after that. My ex-husband and I were staying in a hotel in Utah, and in the middle of the night this really loud noise woke me up, and it sounded just like a dial tone. And it was one of those hotels that had a living room separate from the bedroom. So I woke my ex-husband up, told him to go out in the living room and check it out, and come to find out the speaker had turned itself on the phone, and that's why we were hearing the dial tone. So he unplugged it and we went back to bed. Well, in the morning, right before we checked out, we were plugging the phone back in. Well, we picked it up and there was no dial tone whatsoever. And then a year after that, we were staying at another hotel in Pennsylvania, and the exact same thing happened. Some people might say it was a coincidence, but both times I felt a presence, but it didn't feel like a good presence, and it kind of made me feel uneasy. But now looking back at it, it's such a cool story to be able to tell. Thank you for letting us tell our stories. Have a good day. Bye.
Ooh, Tierney, thank you for sharing those stories. I love when you experience paranormal phenomenon with other people. It just validates the experience. And ghosts possibly messing with the phone? They were definitely trying to get your attention. Our second story is from Amanda Bacharach from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and she has a chilling tale of a ghost that doesn't want to give up his favorite ride.
So prior to 2007, I didn't know anyone dead personally, sight, heart, mind, all connected to me. Until the day my mother's boyfriend died. In the back seat of her brand new car. And before we were sure he was dead, I had to climb over his body to pick up the phone my mother had dropped, calling 911 when she found him that way. So needless to say, me and Melvin had not only a life connection, but an in-death connection. We also kept his truck after his passing and used it often. One day I had left for work, and prior to leaving for work, she had told me that Melvin's truck was acting up and that Ron may be by to check it out, or one of our local handymen. That afternoon, when I drove home from work, the truck was sat where it was usually parked, off to an angle in our yard. I had looked up and noticed there was a man sitting in it, and I thought, oh great, Ron's probably working on the pickup. When I got out, I walked over to the car to see if Ron needed anything, realizing there was no one there, nor had the door been opened or closed, just the sun streaming through the driver's window. I went into the house to find my mom and Ron to ask what was wrong with the pickup, thinking they had gone around back as I went in the front. But when I got there, to my surprise, I found my mom in the shower. I had started to ask her where Ron was and what was wrong, and she said, "What are you talking about?" I then explained, and she said Ron was never here. He hadn't stopped by today. I said, "No, I just saw him. He was in the truck. He was wearing a red t-shirt and a teal baseball hat." And in that moment, I realized I was describing Melvin's work uniform. The man I saw sitting in the truck before I got home that day was Melvin, my mom's dead boyfriend. I can now say I've seen a ghost, and I am a believer. It gives me chills to this day just to talk about it.
Amanda, that story gives me the chills too, and I'm so glad that you're now a believer. I guess you're just going to have to start sharing the truck with Melvin. Our last story is from Ashleigh Marie Thornton from Shadow Hills, California. Ashleigh got the pleasure of being a tour guide at the Linda Vista Hospital. Let's listen to her incredible stories.
Hey Bridget, Ashleigh Marie Thornton from Shadow Hills, California calling in. I've got plenty of ghost stories for you. I used to be one of the docents that led the paranormal tours at Linda Vista Hospital. I've had so many experiences from there, everything from hundreds of EVPs and direct disembodied voice phenomena to heavy hospital doors slamming, to watery footprints going down the hallway when the water was shut off. And my husband even captured a full-body shadow person on camera. The movement of this shadow person is very strange. It's as if it's gliding. It doesn't walk how a normal person would walk. And it was fast. And then using the light fixtures in the hallway where the video was captured as some sort of way to get a sense of the height of this shadow person, we think that it's about 7 feet tall. And then the head of this shadow person is doing this weird wavy sort of thing. After the video was captured, 2 separate paranormal groups spent 2.5 hours each trying to find a rational explanation for it. But to this day, it's still something that we cannot explain. When he captured the shadow person, it was seen by another security guard a few days prior. And then about a week afterwards, a group of models were doing a photo shoot, and they were getting their hair and makeup done, and all 3 models saw the shadow person and ran out of the hospital screaming, and they all refused to go back in and do the photo shoot. My husband captured the video in the lobby. The security guard saw the shadow figure in the stairwell, and the models saw it in the pantry area by the kitchen. So I take it that this shadow person tends to move around the hospital and is not confined to a certain area. And then another chilling capture for me was an EVP that I got on a static camera that was set up in a hallway by the dumbwaiters. It was captured around 3 in the morning, and it sounds like a little girl screaming, "Mama! Mama!" It gave me chills when I heard it. Now, the hospital is across the street from a park, but I don't think there'd be any children playing in the park at 3 in the morning, and honestly, the hallway that the camera was in was pretty centrally located in the building. It wasn't by any windows that would be facing the direction of the park. And here's another strange thing. I had a very strange thing happen with my ovilus in the basement of the mental health services building. It was actually my very first time ever at Linda Vista, and I was asking all the questions that are typical: what's your name, where are you from, that sort of thing. And all the answers that I got, I found were pertaining to myself. For example, when I asked where are you from, it responded Illinois. Well, I was actually born and raised in Chicago. And this went on for several questions in a row. I've been a paranormal investigator for the past 13 years, and I've never had anything similar like that happen with my ovilus. It was like the ghost was answering questions about me. And then later on that same night, I was in room 323 with a paranormal puck device, and the word heroin kept popping up regardless of the question. What year is it? Heroin. Where are we? Heroin. It didn't matter what we typed in, the response was always heroin. Later on, when I started leading the paranormal tours there, I found out that the mental health services building was previously the nurses' dormitory, and for a period of time it was actually used for drug rehabilitation. So perhaps that's why I was getting the response of heroin. And I just want to quickly leave you with these two last things. If your audience saw on Ghost Adventures Aftershocks the story about the door to room 323, I now have that door in my bedroom, and I do my makeup in front of the mirror to it all the time. And as for the ashes in the crematorium, during our final night there, as we were all saying goodbye to the place, on another investigator's obelisk, the word ocean came up. So my husband and I tried to take as many ashes as we could, and we scattered them just north of Descanso Beach on Catalina Island. And then, of course, I have some in an urn at my home. Thanks for letting me share a few stories, and I'm so happy that you're doing the podcast.
Ashleigh, your stories are amazing and so scary. I hope you guys enjoyed these dead time stories. Do you have a ghost experience that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear it. Record your haunted story on your phone and send it to GhostMagnetTV@gmail.com, and make sure to include your name and city and state. Look forward to hearing it. Hey guys, if you're a fan of Ghost Magnet, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and like our Facebook page so you can stay informed on the latest Ghost Magnet news. We've got lots of spooky new content coming your way that you won't want to miss. Subscribe and stay tuned.